Shoplifting and retail theft are a growing problem for local merchants and retailers, many say, and how to handle that can be confusing and potentially risky. There also isn't enough information readily available for retailers to know what the boundaries are, or what they can or cannot do if they perceive someone in their store is in the act of shoplifting or behaving suspiciously. Security cameras can help, but they don't supply a complete answer either. These, and how law enforcement can help, were the central topics of a conversation held at the Arlington Common on Monday, January 29th, that was sponsored by the Southwestern Vermont Chamber of Commerce, along with the Manchester Business Association and the Better Bennington Corporation. An update on what's happening on the legislative front to amend the statutes currently in the books was given by Representative Kathleen James of Manchester, who attended along with Representatives Seth Bongartz and David Durfee.
One of the bills that we're looking at is a retail theft bill, and it would bundle shoplifting together in a way, so that if you are caught shoplifting twice within a 14-day period at the misdemeanor level, if those two amounts together add up to felony level, which is about $900, $1,000, you can be cited for a felony. So if you go into a store at once and steal $1,000, that's a felony. Right now, if you go into your store and steal $500 worth of goods and then go next door a week later and steal $500 worth of goods, that's 2 misdemeanors. Those could be bundled into a felony. So they're taking a look at that idea. The second is about a citation, and I apologize to Sheriff Gully if I get the language wrong, but if someone is shoplifts from your store and you call the police in and show them the tape, and they see the tape and say, yep, we know who that is, and he's clearly shoplifting from your store, instead of issuing a citation, simply a citation, they could go and arrest the person, fingerprint them, book them in. So there's just a higher level of accountability, right? So instead of getting a piece of paper, a citation, that person could actually be arrested by the police. Because one thing we've heard about, and this idea really did originate from our legislative breakfast in the fall, where we came to listen and kept hearing a lot about retail theft. So we took that back, and it turned out that people all over the state were hearing about retail theft. So that's one idea, to try to get at that lack of consequences.
Homelessness, economic struggles, and drug use were parts of this multi-sided problem, several of the participants in the meeting said.
So most of my theft increase comes from substance abusers and or homeless. And I will always keep my door open to almost anybody as long as they treat me with respect. They can warm up, they can sit at my tables, they can do whatever. But all the increases I've seen come from a socially depressed or a substance-based, an economically depressed, or a substance-based issue. So talking consequences, awesome, but what are we gonna do to fix the reasons why they're doing it to begin with?
Bennington County Sheriff James Gully Jr. described what law enforcement could do.
So, there's a lot of education that I think has to come along with this too, because we would struggle with retailers in the past where an individual would walk in their establishment and they would put things in their pockets. How the law is written is that there's nothing against the law about them concealing that item, that merchandise. Okay? And the moment and that's why you would go to these establishments, like any one of yours, your cash register is your last point of sale. So, and that's why if you were to go into Walmart, for instance, all the cash registers are in a straight line. That is the line. Once they cross that line, that is past your last point of sale. That is where, and if it's still concealed, or if they did not pay for said merchandise, that's when law enforcement would interject.
And you can't get physical with them. Where's the line of physicality?
I would not. Yeah, because we even had this conversation with Home Depot in years past.
But why? That's the thing. Why not get physical? Because if you can, I'm a big guy. If I can handle a 140-pound guy after he's gone out of the store with the thing in his pocket, why can't I? He just stole from the business.
I would say, in order to avoid physical confrontation, because not all retailers, one, want to get physical, and two, now you're crossing that threshold of an assault. What I would do is I would strongly encourage you in your own way to take control of your establishments in the sense of approaching these individuals, talking to these individuals, not in the sense of hounding them, but in a sense of kind of establishing that sense that you are there, you are watching. If you do feel nervous, if you feel an individual, contact your local law enforcement, or if the sheriff's department is covering in your particular zone, call us. We have a deputy that's there. We'll go.
But it gets complicated quickly, as the conversation around the table illustrated.
We were always told in the past when I worked for Brooks Pharmacy that we can have anybody served with a trespass notice that we want at any time because it's private property. We just can't explain to them why we're serving them with a trespass notice. We can't say because we think you're stealing, because then they can sue you for. So, but then there's also that fine line now too of social media. I just got trespassed from blah blah blah. I didn't do anything, you know. And there's going to be a certain group of people that know that, yeah, they were served a trespass notice for a good reason. And then there's going to be the people that are going to be on their side automatically. And it's really hard. I mean, I don't comment on things online a lot because I know all it takes is one person can ruin your business online in a heartbeat. So, you know, where's that fine line? If you know you have somebody that's stealing, can she just, as long as she doesn't tell them why, she can have them served with a trespass notice, correct?
And call local law enforcement.
Said about having a presence on Main Street. You're covering 17 towns, Pownell to Peru, and the Bennington Police Department is understaffed. People come in and steal. A neighbor of Heather Hassett, clear as day, video of someone meandering in the store, waiting for her to go into the back, reaching over, stealing $700 in cash, and still staying in there and putzing around like he didn't do anything. What is your professional opinion on use of force by the business owner? Can we bear spray them? Can we tackle them?
No. What I would do is, well, what I would strongly suggest you do is document as much as possible. The time in, the time out. If you have a security surveillance system, use it. If you don't have one, seek out a means to acquire one. And I know they are costly. We just updated ours and it cost us approximately $8,500.
Can there be some money there to help out with businesses? Because for us, I mean, we have to do that balancing act. Is it worth having a security system for $20 being installed, you know, periodically? Is it really worth it to have that? Or should I just, like we do, we just have a camera?
What can be done? Several solutions were offered, especially around arming merchants with more information and maybe stronger deterrents, like stiffer punishments if offenders were caught.
What are the ramifications of detaining someone? Who incurs the cost of prosecuting? How to get those no trespassing orders and the procedure associated with those? Something that gives us a one-stop shop to learn what to do when we catch someone or if we catch someone. That kind of thing would be great. You know, I see about 1% loss a year in theft, about $5,000 overall, and I just write it off because I know it's going to happen. You know, if I was to prosecute every individual that stole a $20 game, am I dropping $100 in 6 hours of my life? I have better things to do with my time and money.
Right.
So educating about that would be great as well.
One of the concepts that would be very helpful to us is that education of what we can and can't do, Sheriff, whether it comes from the Sheriff's Office. I have talked to Manchester PD about it as well. And that question does come up a lot of, you know, what can we do? What steps are people comfortable doing? And then there's the legislative consequence side of it, but there's also the practical side of it, which is my liability as a business owner for wanting to confront somebody. And what if I'm wrong? Or what if one of my associates is wrong? And now I'm getting sued to try to save that $30 item. I'm now thousands of dollars in court fees. So there's no simple answer to that in the next 20 minutes of this meeting, but I think just from our perspective as a higher volume retailer, I would say the education component is a big part of it. And I would say that the thinking not just about the consequence, but the actual practical nature of trying to recover items or prosecute individuals.
Afterwards, we spoke with Amy Spear, the State Chamber of Commerce's Vice President for Tourism.
And we are hearing these stories in every community that we go to. You know, some might have a different twist on it, but every community is facing retail theft. They're looking at repeat offenders. So it's a tough issue that everyone's dealing with in the small business community. Yeah, I mean, small business owners, most business owners in the state of Vermont are small business owners, and they're all dealing with a lot on a daily basis just to keep their operation running. And you know, today's conversation was really important because we heard the lived stories of all the business owners that were present, you know, what the state's trying to tackle from a policy perspective in the State House, and then thinking ahead to what education opportunities might be available to help mitigate some of the issues that folks are dealing with in their communities.
Matt Harrington, the Executive Director of the Southwestern Vermont Chamber, also shared his takeaways.
Yeah, you know, I think we're seeing a lot of post-pandemic stress on our businesses, stress in individuals. I think, you know, we do have to acknowledge the opioid epidemic, and that's what happened in the meeting today. So I think there's a lot of things that are impacting just the community's income. Income is getting tighter, and so more theft is happening. So I think we got to acknowledge that all those intricate things are happening in our community, but that doesn't negate the fact that theft is theft, and it is happening, and so our businesses came together today, and I thought it was a great group of both North Shire, South Shire businesses coming together to have a conversation around what was going on and then steps moving forward. One of the huge insights I think for us is much more education around how to, I think what was called harden up your environment. So how do shop owners harden up their environment, and that could be around lighting, that could be around cameras, that could be around specialized training, and so you know we'll look to pull this group back together and do some more training on that.
Shoplifting has been around for as long as there have been shops, in all likelihood, but it's a problem that's rising on the radar screens of retailers, law enforcement, and government. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.